Hello, everyone. I am Marilyn Penalosa, Chair of the Community Preservation Committee. This video summarizes our annual report to town meeting on the status of the Community Preservation Fund and the projects we are recommending to town meeting for approval. Over the next few minutes, I will briefly describe all of the projects. Additional information on specific projects can be found in our annual report, soon to be online at our website, and with the town clerk's town meeting materials. The original project applications are on the CPC website as well. If you have specific questions about any of the projects not answered by this presentation or the applications, please email them to us at our town address. We will forward your questions to the project sponsors and post their answers on the CPC website for you to review. Both the website and email address are on the last page of this presentation. Some of these projects may be on the consent agenda, meaning that they will be voted on with an up or down vote unless the requisite number of town meeting members request that a project be pulled out for individual consideration. For that reason, I urge you to have your questions answered before we meet. Note that all projects have been reviewed and approved as complying with the Community Preservation Act by our town council. A brief look at what we've done to date. A total of almost $110 million of community housing, historic resource, open space, and recreational resource projects. And here is the project breakdown by area presented graphically. As noted in previous reports to you, the large historic resources figure is mainly due to our acquisition and renovation of the community center, the restoration of the Carey Memorial Building, and the restoration and renovation of the Monroe Center for the Arts. These projects make up over half of this historic resource spending, but are projects that enhance our quality of life in Lexington. Also significant is the spending for recreational resources. The Recreation Department is restoring and upgrading its playgrounds, playing fields, and hard courts in anticipation of increased usage caused by the new high school project, which will reduce or eliminate access to many facilities. Finally, this year we are again pleased to be able to support several housing initiatives, most notably the Affordable Housing Trust. However, with regard to these CPC community housing investments, we continue to hope that town meeting will recognize that CPA funding cannot do it alone. Additional sources of funding will be needed for the town to meet its critical housing goals. An important component of our funding for CPA projects is the match provided by the state. Over the years, this share has risen and fallen depending on the number of communities participating in the distribution and the fees collected at the Registry of Deeds. Our match for fiscal year 25 shows a slight reduction in payments by about $120,000 or 9%, caused by the increased number of participating municipalities, together with a decrease in home sales and the virtual disappearance of mortgage refinancing with rising interest rates over the last few years, all factors that affect CPA revenue. Additionally, we saw a reduction in overall state revenues, which prevented any surplus distribution, as has occurred in past years. This slide shows you our financial situation going into town meeting. The beginning balance of our Community Preservation Fund is $11.2 million, based on increased local surcharge receipts, but also reflecting an anticipated further reduction in the matching distribution from the state. The estimated surcharge is based on residential taxes, which last year averaged $542.17 based on an average single-family home value of $1,578,591, and the contributions of our commercial base of $1,531,088, representing approximately 21% of the total. The state match for next year is based on a conservative 15%. If you approve all our recommended projects for fiscal year 26, we will have a balance of about $3.5 million to carry over to next year, of which approximately $2 million is earmarked for either open space or historic resources, and the remaining $1.5 million is unrestricted. The unrestricted funds will also be available for funding extraordinary or time-sensitive projects that we might bring to you in a special town meeting in the fall. It is important to note that as of this year, we have no outstanding CPA project debt, and therefore no debt service article. This is expected to change in fiscal year 27, once the previously authorized debt for the rehabilitation of the Monroe Center for the Arts is issued. Before we look to next year's projects, a few words of thanks to the members of the Capital Expenditures and Appropriation Committees and to Carolyn Kosnoff, Assistant Town Manager for Finance, all of whom provide our committee with much-needed expertise and advice. Finally, my personal thanks to each of the members of the CPC and our administrative assistants for their continued dedication and commitment to bringing the very best projects to you for your approval. And now I'll look at this year's projects. Article 10A requests $300,000 for the design and engineering work to build a connecting trail between the Cotton Farm and the Lexington Community Center. The community center is now isolated from the town's trail systems and open spaces. This connector will remedy that situation with a new passageway to the Upper Vinebrook Conservation Area, which will be universally accessible if possible, and enable expanded programming opportunities at the community center. Article 10B requests $75,000 for trail design and engineering at Simons Brook Conservation Area, a project that will close and restore an existing section of environmentally sensitive wetlands trails that is in very poor condition. The project will also accommodate a new across Lexington route in Northwest Lexington. Document conservation, Article 10C for $21,000, is part of a multi-year program to conserve the town's most important historical records and, incidentally, digitize them for greater public access. This year, we will be preserving accounting journals and ledgers from the late 1800s, records of marriage intentions from 1909 to 1918, and a Sanborn map of Lexington from 1935. The documents have been determined to be historic resources by the Lexington Historical Commission and therefore eligible for CPA funding. These records provide an important picture of our town's early history and must be preserved to ensure their continued integrity. 10B provides $57,800 in funding for the replacement of the roof at Lexington Historical Society's Hancock Clark House. The roof was last replaced in 2008, but has deteriorated faster than expected due to extreme weather conditions over the last few years. Decayed roof shingles will lead to damage in the interior of the house, threatening its structural integrity as well as the priceless collections contained throughout the structure. The Hancock Clark House, constructed in 1737, was the stopping place for Paul Revere as he rode to warn colonists of the approaching British soldiers on April 19, 1775. The building is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and is an important tourist draw for the town. At Special Town Meeting 2022-3, town meeting members authorized the creation of an affordable housing trust as a means of increasing the affordable housing stock in Lexington. Article 10E provides $3 million pre-funding to finance the purchase price, holding, and other costs associated with the acquisition and/or development of new affordable homes. The town continues to face challenges in making competitive offers on properties with the current system of waiting for approval from annual town meeting, and the funding of our Affordable Housing Trust will allow it to become more flexible in being able to take advantage of the current real estate market and successfully bid on new properties. Town meeting approved $3.2 million in fiscal year 25 and $1.5 million in fiscal 24 for similar purposes. Article 10F for $494,140 will provide funding to the Lexington Housing Assistance Board, or LEXHAB, Lexington's longtime funder of affordable housing, for the preservation and rehabilitation of 53 of their affordable housing units, including roof and door replacements, installation of gutter guards, exterior painting to prevent damage, and similar building upgrades. The funding will also cover the decarbonization of 4 of LexHab's properties, providing for the conversion of gas to electric-fueled water systems, hot water heaters, new heat pumps, and weatherization at those properties. This request is similar to requests made and approved at the last 4 annual town meetings. In addition, this year LexHab is again requesting rental assistance to subsidize units with tenants below minimum rent requirements. LexHab tenants pay 30% of their income towards rent, but other than for the few tenants who have rental vouchers, LexHab must subsidize the rents to make the units affordable. The total cost of all these projects is expected to reach $994,140. LexHab anticipates grants from MassSave and the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, as well as use of their own funds to make up the difference. Article 10G recommends $1,490,000 for upgrades and replacement of the playing facilities at the center playground. Certified playground safety inspectors have determined that the play equipment and safety surfacing at the center playground, last replaced in 2006, is now at the end of their life. If not replaced, the town may have to close down and prevent access to the facility to avoid user harm and potential liability. Article 10H, $1,197,904 for improvements of the athletic fields at Harrington Field involves the construction of 2 new fields if and when the old Harrington School Public Schools Administration Building is demolished. The new fields are needed to address the shortfall in playing areas caused by increasing demand exacerbated by the new high school construction project. Approximately 4,600 hours of field use will be gained by this project. The total project cost to create these fields is $3,197,904, of which $2 million will be requested from the general fund. As you may remember, $100,000 was appropriated for design, engineering, and architectural services for Harrington Field at last fall's special town meeting. Harrington Field 3 is now at the end of its useful life, and Article 10I seeks $860,000 to design, engineer, and complete construction, landscaping, and site improvements at the field. New walkways, guardrails, and plantings will enhance the site. This project does not include turf replacement, however. The decision has been made to use synthetic turf for the fields, and in accordance with the Community Preservation Act's requirements and recent case law, no CPA funds will be used for installation of this material or related site preparation. Rather, the remaining $1,950,000 project cost, if approved, will be appropriated from the general fund. This project is part of the larger planned rehabilitation at Lincoln Park. Field 1 was renovated in fiscal year 24, and Field 2 was approved for renovation at last year's annual town meeting. This request, Article 10J, is for our yearly appropriation of $150,000 to meet the administrative expenses of the Community Preservation Committee, legal fees, appraisals, member dues to the statewide Community Preservation Coalition, and importantly, the salary and benefits of our shared administrative assistant. As always, any funds not actually spent during the fiscal year are returned to the undesignated fund balance of the town's Community Preservation Fund. We hope you will agree that the Community Preservation Act has been and will continue to be an important source of funding for our town, providing welcoming open space, quality affordable housing, enhanced recreation facilities, and preservation of our most important historic resources. We are grateful for your support. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and please contact us if we can provide additional information and answers to your questions.